So, Cass, it's been quite some time since we've been in front of the microphone.
Yeah,
And
I've been asleep for a while.
summer hibernation, right?
Yes, sir.
We took a nice little summer break. We've done a lot this summer, I think. We've learned a lot of things, and I just wanted to kind of take the time to, not really focus on one specific topic, but to catch up on, life and how things are going and all that.
Like a year in review or something like that.
Yeah, maybe just call it a summer in review because
Summer in review.
we talked enough throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, we took quite a long of a break. And we did, like you said, a lot of stuff. Like we went to Las Vegas.
Yep.
I went on a little bit of vacation.
Yep. Extended, right?
Extended vacation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And a lot of projects have been happening.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we've been really busy.
Yeah, we have, but it's been all good stuff. And I think one of the highlights of my summer so far has been going to Vegas to the conference.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was a nice experience. Definitely hot.
Oh, it was hot. It was,
Yeah.
I think when we were out there, it was like 102, 103, 104.
Which to like some people, they might be like, oh, that's not that hot.
Well, and we missed because I think once we left, it got up to like 114, 115, that massive heat wave.
Yeah.
And then one of our team members went to Vegas as well and just missed all that rain.
Yeah.
That massive amount of like flooding and all that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That must have sucked. Oh man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No. No, I that would suck.
They're probably not prepared for any type of rain to that extent at all, really.
Well, I don't know that anybody is. I mean, even here in Michigan, like when we get really heavy rain by where we live, you see like the water under the bridge where you like, there were times like I had a hard time finding a way to get home and I live 5 minutes from here.
Yeah.
I had to go all the way around, all the bridges that go under the train tracks and things like that to get back home. I think you remember that day.
Yeah, I do. I guess for them, the norm is like no rain. So
That's true.
like for us, like a normal amount of rain is fine. We can deal with it.
Right.
Especially like when it comes to driving.
Right.
I remember, sometime when I was in California, it doesn't rain very often over there in SoCal.
Right.
And it happened to rain while I was there and I'm driving and all these people don't know what the heck I'm doing. And I'm just going the normal speed because it felt normal. I have my wipers on.
Right.
They're like, what is a wiper? Like, where am I going? I can't see the lines.
They took that feature off the cars in California.
They're like, I can't see where I'm going.
That's funny.
And I'm just like, ooh. I'm like, it's not that hard, guys.
But I think about the same thing like down south when they get snow, when they're just not prepared for it, right? Literally everything shuts down.
See, that I can understand a little bit because here in Michigan, we have everyone has all season tires for the most part. Over there, they probably just all have summer tires,
right?
And
we've
summer
got
tires,
plows, we've got salt, we've got
plows, salt. But like the tires alone, I feel like summer tires are absolutely useless in the snow. Like you have no grip whatsoever.
I can't say that I've ever driven summer tires in the winter here because I've really never had a car. To your point, that I've had that. It's always been all season tires.
Yeah, because I mean, no one's gonna. I mean, I know this is like a tangent, I guess, but most people when they want to do it the right way, they get a nice set of summer tires and then they keep a set of winter tires in their garage.
That's true.
And then they just have the rims for those winter tires and they just flip flop them.
Yeah.
And that way you get the best of both worlds. But
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot. It's
a lot of money.
I mean, the winter tires are gonna last you, and the summer,
But they get new rims too. The rims are not cheap.
Once you get the rims, they're just gonna be there. I mean, it's an investment.
It's true.
I mean, we don't get. It's not as bad as like Northern Canada or something like that. So.
Well, actually, what's interesting in Canada, it's a law.
Yeah,
right.
Because it gets worse.
It gets worse where you have to have winter tires.
Yeah, at that point, it's like a safety issue.
Exactly.
And I mean, with summer tires, the rubber compound is made in such a way that it doesn't soften. I mean, I'm not an expert, but it doesn't soften as much as an all-season or winter tire would in colder conditions. So like the summer tire will be rock hard,
right?
And the tread pattern won't be good enough to kind of gather the snow to give you that snow-on-snow contact,
right?
Because what gives you the grip in snow, contrary to like what you might think, is the snow-on-snow, because snow contact actually gives you pretty good grip.
Interesting.
Yeah, so once you get that coating of snow over the tire and it sticks to it,
I see what you're saying.
It'll give you
give you a nice
traction.
That's similar in any material. skin to skin, like
Mhm.
stupid as a tape to tape. Like any material on top of itself seems to typically have less friction.
More friction.
More friction, rather. Yeah, more friction.
More
It's
adhesion.
been a long time since I've been in school.
Yeah, it's okay.
More friction, right?
I mean, like it's kind of cool to think about, like all the technology that goes into it. But as far as, I mean, us and our weather and everything like that, and our infrastructure, it just seems easy,
Right.
you know, when we get snow. But
Right.
like everyone else, were like, wow, like you guys are being babies. But like really, like if we didn't have that, like we'd also be suffering too.
It's
I
true.
think.
But see, and then you just got a truck,
Yes, I did.
a gas truck.
Yeah. Yeah. How ironic.
How ironic. And you haven't had your Tesla through the winter yet, have you?
No. So that's something that my wife is gonna have to deal with on her own. I mean, which I don't imagine is gonna be tough because it has all season tires.
Right.
It's all wheel drive.
Right.
The traction control and stability control on Teslas are pretty good.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
What about the battery?
In colder conditions, it does reduce the performance of the battery, of course, like with all batteries.
Right.
I've heard as much as a 20% range cut. That's what I've heard.
I mean, that's not awful if you're just commuting day to day.
Honestly, man, like I didn't anticipate how little of the battery we would be using on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not even worried about it. Because like initially we were worried about that, but when we only charge it to 80%, and then we'll go on our, day-to-day commute, and we'll come back, and the worst case scenario, the worst is we come back at 50%.
So, and to your point, like we have the electric van here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that van has 120 to 130 mile range per charge. And, we take it to job sites, and we probably drive a lot more than the usual person because we're going from site to site.
Right.
The only time that I've ever had to go to a charging station was because I forgot to plug it in the night before.
Yeah.
Other than that, like even the 130 mile range, if you think in a normal car, it's just under half a tank for the typical 300 mile per tank car and all that.
Right.
Which half a tank typically gets you everywhere you need to go for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really puts you into, like, it really puts the perspective, like, of how far you really drive, like, especially with an electric car,
Right.
because you're really being aware of it.
Right.
The range anxiety is actually a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've noticed like with gas cars, like I'll push it a lot more than when I'm driving the electric car.
You have a lot more faith.
Yeah, you do, because I mean, okay, I'm out of gas, I go fill it up, 5 minutes, I'm done. This thing, it's like, it's almost like a game of, how much regen can I put back into the battery? It's like all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it reminds me of that one time that we went on that job. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
We forgot to charge it.
Yep.
We went there at a really low battery. We forgot stuff, so then I had to drive back
Yep.
to our office and then go back and
Yep.
give you the tool that
Yep.
we missed. And so we even had an even lower battery.
Yep.
And you were like, no, it's okay. We'll have enough. This guy is flooring it. This thing is still giving us power and everything. And we have like almost the exact mileage we need to get home.
You remember why I was flooring it, right?
I don't remember.
I wanted to see what happened. Like,
Yeah,
I wanted to see if it would like, once the battery gets low, if it would stop giving me so much throttle response.
It
didn't. It gave me all the throttle response.
Right.
Up until
for a long time.
up until maybe 2 to 3 miles left.
You know what that tells me? It probably has a big invisible buffer that you can't access.
I would assume.
Probably.
I would assume, except when we got to the office, we were at 0 miles left. Like, we made it with 0 miles left.
Yeah.
When I stopped the car, or rather when I was pulling it told me to power the car off immediately and charge it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what happens with the Fords when they get to that point.
But I wonder, to your point, if there still is the buffer, or if that means like, hey man, you're out.
So for that car, for the Transit, it most likely has a buffer because of the fact that they're okay with you charging it to 100% every day.
Oh, that's true.
Like they want you to do that because they know, with the type of work that they're going to be doing with a van, the jobs and everything.
Right.
Everyone's going to be charging it to 100, taking it down to 0, charging it to 100.
Right.
So they need that buffer there to prevent, increased battery degradation.
Right.
So that's probably
I'm sure that's accurate.
Otherwise, they would be telling you to hit
Charge it to 80 or whatever.
an 80 or 90, to prevent that.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as it gives you a little bit of invisible buffer to access when you're like in a pinch,
Yeah.
then that's all you really need.
And that's funny too, because when I ran out the last time, it was a similar story where I didn't charge it the night before. I still had 100 miles left or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 different jobs to go to. And one of our jobs, the techs, forgot a couple pieces or thought they had them in their van and all that stuff. So I made 2 Home Depot runs, which is what screwed me. Because then I was like, because I calculated, I'm like, okay, I don't need to charge it because I can make it here, 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 and back without needing it. I'll still have 10 miles left or whatever. And now I'm like, oh, I don't have anything, But what was interesting was there was a GM dealership that had a free charger for my Ford. And it was maybe, I don't know, I was there for maybe 20 minutes. I grabbed food. I went there, I plugged in. I sat there for 20 minutes, and then I made it all the way back.
What was the charge speed on it?
It was just a 50 kilowatt.
Oh, okay.
So it was nothing crazy, but...
Well, I mean, yeah, the van already has a small battery, so it's not like that
Right.
big of a deal.
Right.
So
I was trying to look for the higher powered ones, but where I was, they didn't have anything bigger
Yeah.
than that small.
Electrify America is not really super established in this particular
Right.
area
It
that we're
isn't.
in. Outside of our area, I think it's a lot more robust.
Yeah.
But even then, I've been seeing a lot of issues with Electrify America.
Yeah, you sent me a couple of videos on that. Thanks for
Yeah.
the heads up.
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, like it's kind of tough because if you're making such a commute, especially like let's say you have a F-150 Lightning and you have your family with you, you got a trailer with you, and you're towing, and you're banking on the fact that this station that you're heading to is going to have a working charger or multiple working chargers to handle like many other people that are trying to go and charge while you're there.
Right.
And you get there and then all the chargers are broken, or maybe one of the chargers is working, but then that one charger only gives you like, 20 kilowatts.
Right. Slow or whatever.
Unintentionally slow.
Oh, I see.
Because a lot of the time you'll go to those stations and they'll have like they have in the cable or in the like where the plug is, they have a temperature sensor to sense.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so if it gets too hot, it'll throttle the amount of output it's giving.
So it doesn't catch fire, basically.
Right. So what happens a lot with those Electrify America units is those those temperature sensors will go bad.
I see.
And so it has no way of knowing. So it defaults to it's too hot, and then it will like
Which is
never
smart on that side, but
but it'll never give you like the full charge.
So what I experienced that one time that I had to actually use a charging station for real was I went on the app, on the Ford app, and it shows all the charging areas, and it showed me the one that was at that dealership. So when I punched the address, the GPS didn't know where it was for some reason. It's right on a main road. It's just really weird. It didn't know where it was. It's like whatever. And then I saw another one that was at a Dunkin' Donuts over there. And when I saw it by driving by it. I didn't even see it on the app. So I pulled in and I look on the app. I'm like, why did it not show this Dunkin' Donuts? And I look on the app and it says that 0 of 1 available. But no one was there.
Yeah.
And it was working.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't use it was because I had to get the app to sign in. I didn't have good cell reception at the time. It was driving me crazy. And you know how I get. I just get frustrated. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go find something else. And I was like, I'm going to go find this dealership. And I just started driving. I was like, I got enough to drive around the area to find it. And I found the dealership. It's off in the corner, like kind of on like a side road and all that stuff. So, so I saw it the opposite way where it was working, but the app showed that it wasn't good.
Yeah. And that happens a lot. But as of late, a lot of people that are reliant on the Electrify America network have noticed the lack of, I guess, upkeep.
I see.
At a higher level than they've ever seen before. And the theory is that Electrify America is letting these die in preparation for bringing in the next generation chargers that are actually.
That's kind of a crappy way to do it.
It is, and there's no. I mean, this is like just what people are talking about. It's like there's no official statement or anything that I've seen. And not that I care, I have a Tesla, but like,
I got a Tesla. I don't care.
But it is unfortunate, especially for those people that are like making big trips that are relying on these chargers, because like, this person that I'm talking about that I watched the video about that I sent you, they were on a long road trip that, once they got to that charger, they were done. Like they had to get a tow. They had to leave their trailer, get a tow, go to a level 2 charger,
drive back at their trailer.
Right, but the level 2 charger they had to charge overnight because of how slow it is.
Oh, that's right.
It's just a level 2.
Is it just a 110?
Yeah, or 240
or whatever it is.
So yeah, so like they charged there overnight, and then once they had enough charge, then they went to another Electrify America station, which was thankfully working, and then they were able to continue their trip. So
Wow,
it's just
sucks.
like in that scenario, that's like a nightmare.
See, to me, and I'm still of a believer of this for now. I'm not saying that this is going to be a permanent, belief of mine. I still think like road trips, I'm going to take a gas car every time.
I mean,
I get the nice, thing about stopping and, taking a rest, and like most of the time it's reliable, but it's these onesies, twosies, like for me, and it's an awful mindset. I'm trying to get out of it. When I go on a road trip, I don't want to stop. I just want to go from A to Z.
Yeah.
And then when I get there, then I'm on vacation.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't disagree with you. Like the quickest way I think you're going to get there is probably with a gas car still. But if you have, like, for example, me, like during the summer, this is another thing I did in the summer. After our Vegas trip,
Oh yeah, that's right.
which was a nightmare at the end, right?
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So we land, and right when we land and I get home, me and my wife, we jump in a car and we drive 10 hours to Quebec. Like right after the flight.
Oh,
and
that day.
And once we talk about the context of that flight, you'll know how much worse it was for me. Like it was excruciating, but we took the Tesla, and I mean, just looking at the charging and the actual trip itself, it was phenomenal. It was great. It wasn't I never ever felt in any situation where it was like a burden for me.
Right.
I mean, there were times where I was thinking to myself, like, hey, if I was in a gas car, I would have kept going at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are times where you're in a gas car where you're stopping anyways to have lunch or take a potty break or whatever it is, especially if you have kids, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you're gonna stop and do what you need to do for 20 or so minutes.
It's true.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So as long as provided that these chargers are actually working and give you the best performance possible,
Right.
and that's the thing that I really appreciate about Tesla's chargers. Is that they're reliable. You can always count on them. They give you live updates in the actual car. It'll tell you how many stalls are available, which ones are actually broken, and it'll actually divert you now if there's too many people at that charging station.
Oh, waiting or something.
Yeah, if it knows that there are too many people, and it'll actually hold you back in your trip, it'll move you to some other charger.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
Now, and I hear, and I've been hearing forever, that they're going to start allowing other brands of cars to use their chargers.
they already have, yeah.
Oh, they have already?
Yeah, for certain stations that are lower trafficked, they're allowing other cars to
that's
go. So
interesting.
in my app right now, I can go and say, other than Tesla Charge or something like that. I forget the verbiage, but then it's kind of like Electrify America. You pay in the app, you tell it what stall you're in, and you start charging.
And then you just have to have the converter with you?
No, they're actually adding the cables for
CCS.
CCS.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
So that way you don't have to have
That's
that,
nice.
which is nice. Yes.
That's cool.
And they've already done this in Europe for earlier. So and they've seen some good things. The only issue I've seen is obviously with Teslas you have they've designed them so that you can use the Tesla with that charge station. So the port is in a nice opportune place.
I see what you're saying.
Right, it's on the
parking is what sucks.
Yeah, so if you have a car where the charge port's in a weird place, and you have to like kind of park in a weird way in the stall, it sometimes doesn't work super well.
Because the Tesla's always on the rear driver's side.
Yeah, it's like where your gas door would be, basically.
Yeah. See, like the F-150 Lightning, it's on the front driver's side, I think.
Right.
And for the Transit, it's in the front. Well, the Transit would be easy. It's right in the front.
Yeah, that would
Pull right
work
up.
nicely.
Well, actually, the truck would too, because you could pull right up to it.
Yeah, you can pull up right up to it, but the charge cable is like biased on the left or the right side if you're facing it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So,
I see. You have to go across the car or whatever.
I mean, you might have to stretch it, like, you know what I'm saying? So like it might be something that isn't super practical with some cars because of how long the cable is, but I guess they'll probably fix that. This is kind of like a trial run to see if it works nicely.
It's good revenue for Tesla.
I think so, yeah. I mean, like, I think one of the biggest issues that we see with Electrify America is that it's not profitable for them. You know what I'm saying? It's actually they're more incentivized to not fix their stations because you're not, you're not putting electricity
Yeah.
into your car, which
Yeah.
is not charging them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Not yet. I think at some point it will.
I mean,
just like any business, it never starts off at a win.
Right, but you know why Electrify America is a thing, right?
Government incentivized? No?
You remember that whole Volkswagen Dieselgate
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a part of that settlement. That's the only reason. Well, I mean, and to be fair to Electrify America,
Interesting.
Electrify America like took that and ran with it and did
Yeah.
something really good with it.
Yeah.
And like they actually like
But initially it wasn't for the purpose of building a charging network.
I mean they got that money and all that to do all this,
Right.
and it's not they weren't basing it off of like we're gonna make this profitable, like, you know what I'm saying? And like they need to, if they make it profitable, then they'll actually make really good charge stations.
Yeah.
and have, and they're getting there. They're eventually gonna get
little
there.
by little.
The problem is we're still really far away from how Europe's infrastructure is. Like after this podcast, I'm gonna show you a video of some of the charging stations they have in Europe, and
Okay.
it'll blow your mind. The type
Okay.
of the type of infrastructure, the type of stuff that they do, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see that because I think that'd lead us into our next video.
Oh yeah, there's so much more that we have to do in this country, especially with
Yeah.
just in general our electric infrastructure. Not even like charging stations or
Yeah.
anything like that we
Well,
have
I
to
mean,
improve.
That's
That's another can of worms, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. What I've
Yeah.
noticed lately, and I'm going to say this one thing, and then let's move away from this.
Sure.
So, I've noticed lately, like when the power goes out, it used to be where, especially when streetlights were out,
Mm-hmm.
our electric company here in Michigan, DTE, or at least our local area, would come and get that done right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed lately, like streetlights have been out for days,
Yeah.
not just one, but like 2 or 3 in the same city.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are we so delayed now on getting these things fixed? And I know some of the inside stuff, like sometimes getting the parts is not easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes you have to go to other states to get these certain, like one specific part. Obviously, the grid is is being taxed very heavily.
Yeah.
Recently, there was a fire. I think I sent you at one of the substations here.
I heard that.
And so there's a lot of power issues that are coming. So, but let's talk about Vegas a little bit, because Vegas was sweet. Hey, I've never been there. You've never been there before that, right?
No, I've never been there.
Vegas was really cool.
Yeah, it was.
It was really cool. The day that we got to actually spend like out on the strip for a little bit was kind of nice.
It was nice, yeah.
I'd like to go back and actually like go on vacation there.
Yeah. Going to the Coca-Cola store was cool.
That was cool.
Seeing all the like I got all the different kinds of Coca-Cola floats.
Yeah, you did it right.
And then you got all the different kinds of Coca-Colas from the world.
Yeah, like the different like world drinks, and
Yeah.
some of them were good and some were awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some smelled like their country, as weird as that is.
Yeah, it's cool because you can see how different things appeal to different cultures and different societies. Because obviously, Coke is phenomenal because everybody likes Coke from my
everywhere.
understanding. But obviously, everyone has different palates and different things that they like.
Right.
More spicy, more this, more that. So you can see that manifest.
You really can, and it's like. It really is amazing. I mean, the different types of drinks that you didn't even know were there. And honestly, like the Coke in Vegas was cool, but you got to go to the one at Atlanta. That's the big.
Is it like the big HQ one?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
so. That'd be a cool one to go to.
Yeah.
And then where do we go after that?
We went to the M&M store,
right?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then we went and had those dumplings.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's where we learned our fate.
You really liked those dumplings.
Man.
They were really good.
They were so good.
I'm glad we went there, honestly,
Oh,
because
that was so good.
I didn't even get to go when I went to California
It's awful.
because of what happened, which
That's a
we'll get
sin.
into. But it was, oh my God.
The dumplings were so good, man. I've never had. I've learned recently. Some people call them soup dumplings.
Yeah, because there's like
There's
liquid
literally
inside
soup
of
in it, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a place that opened up here, and the day that they had their grand opening, I literally went because I was like, "What the heck? I gotta try this." It wasn't bad.
Mhm.
It's not the same, but like you walk in, it's a very tiny place, and they have the glass.
Mm-hmm.
You can see someone making the dumplings and all that.
Oh, so they have that. They're
Yeah.
making it in front of you. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
It's kind of neat. Well, maybe we'll go after this and go eat,
why
eat
not?
lunch or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So it was nice. I had some they call it bubble tea or whatever over there too. But in Vegas, the conference was really cool because it kind of opened our eyes to what we're doing good in our industry, and it kind of gave us a really good sense of like, hey, we're a little bit ahead here.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was nice. It was nice to meet the people. It's nice to meet other competitor companies, to be honest with you. You get to meet a lot of people that I've worked with in the past that I've never met in person, but some of the people that are like our vendors, and we had some good conversation with them.
Yeah. It was a cool experience because I got to see kind of like a lot of the behind the scenes workings of some of the systems that we use that I don't necessarily ever get to work with or see, and see like demos of, you know, all these different systems that, you know, make our lives easier and then possible to do with when it comes to IT. So it was a nice eye opener. And then obviously it's super nice to network with a bunch of different people from the same industry, from different places. And they all have their own different, you know, experiences that they can kind of let you know about, and you can tell them about your experiences. So once a year going to something like that it's
important.
It's definitely important, because you get to kind of see where you are, like you said, in the place of things, see if you're doing really well or if you need to work on some things.
I agree.
Right. So, you know, from what we saw, like when we went over there, it seemed like, you know, we had everything pretty figured out as far as like how we had everything integrated, our systems, you know, our philosophy, our culture.
Yeah.
So, and it, you know, not to kind of brag, right? Because, you know, being humble is good, but
it is.
I mean, I think it's definitely a nice thing to know where you're at.
Yeah.
And then also, kind of see like, you know, what you can do with, you know, the competitors around you, you know what I'm saying? And learn from them to some extent.
I agree. No, I mean, there's always something to learn. My favorite thing was that you get to meet the people that I've worked with, like on the vendor side, and see how like our companies actually helped them develop their product.
Yeah.
A little bit. That was kind of like just kind of a proud moment for me of like, there's a lot of stuff that we've helped other like companies develop within theirs by giving them ideas and then actually helping them with some of the code and all that. And then they kick it back as a feature and we're like, yeah, this is great. We use it now.
Yeah.
It was just kind of cool for you to see like all the people that I've interacted with along the way and kind of connect all the dots. It's just a proud moment for me.
Yeah. And I mean, there were quite a bit of people that, you know, you worked with, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, Eddie.
Just in a couple of years worth of time, you know, which is great.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it really like helps you in the end too, because, you know, you get to, you know, a lot of the people that you work with, that you like to work with, you know, you get to stay with them because, you know, they give you the features that you need to kind of like make their stuff competitive versus anything else.
Exactly. And that's the bottom line. Like, and I tell this to sales reps, to vendors, to COOs, CEOs of these companies, like, hey, listen, I know I'm just buying a product from you, but I'd like you to see this more as a partnership, because if you provide something that I need, it's going to help me a ton. And then, you know, you're going to have a longer term customer, but a lot of the stuff that I need is also stuff that other people needs. So like if you want to release something and use this as like a test dummy, I'm fine for that. That's cool. If you need some help on some integration side that maybe I know, like just hit me up. I'm not going to charge you for this, because at the end of the day, it's going to help me as long as you don't keep increasing my prices, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's a whole different story. But that was really cool. I agree with you. Going once a year is probably a good thing. And I'd like to bring some sales with us too.
Yeah.
So that way they can see kind of the ins and outs of those pieces.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. It was definitely cool to kind of like see the different products too that I've never heard of as well.
Yeah.
Like some of the, you know, I mean, to be honest, like a lot of the stuff, like I didn't really get to like kind of super absorb because there was so much in the expo.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the main stuff, you can see kind of the competitors, so the ones that we use, and you kind of hear their story and where they come from, you know. And I mean, overall, I think next year it would be cool to go to, if you know.
I agree.
If we get the
might go to a different one, possibly.
Maybe like a ConnectWise one.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah. Kind of get a feel for both and see how that goes. And I think ConnectWise is just after the Kaseya one that we went to, so we'll figure that out. That'd be fun
for sure.
But then we obviously had that day to kind of hang out, and we hung out, and then we had dinner. And in the middle of dinner, I was eating that soup with the meat. I mean, that was so good. And then you go, hey, our flight got canceled. I'm like, stop messing with me, man. You're like, no, look, you showed me that your phone. Remember, the flight got canceled. And I looked at my phone, and I got the same notification, and I just lost my appetite.
Yeah.
Because you had to catch the Tesla train to Montreal.
Yeah.
And I had to get back here, because that was, I think, a Friday, right?
Right.
To kind of, you know, button up a bunch of stuff that, you know, when I'm gone, it's tough, because I have, you know, the list of cures. So I had to get back here and get to work and just kind of work kind of almost a full day. Because by the time we landed with our initial flight, we were going to be here at, was it like 8 a.m? Something like that. Something, because of the time zone change, I can't remember. And so the first thing that went through my mind was, oh, we're not going to make it home on Friday. we're going to be stuck here for another day.
Yeah.
So, we went on the Delta app where we flew, and it was like, yeah, we got you on a plane, but you're flying standby, and the plane's full. I'm like, well, this isn't going to work because we're not going to make it. So we end up literally driving to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to someone. They got us on the next flight home, first class, which is kind of cool. And, I was like, okay, we can live with that because, we had to be at the airport at 4 a.m. now.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we kind of like, negotiated, like, come on, you got to give us a hotel. So they give us a hotel. They got us an Uber ride to the hotel or a Lyft or whatever it was. And the person drops us off. We get out. We look at the hotel. We look at each other. We're like, no, man.
Yeah,
it was off the beaten path. It was not a hotel I was really willing to stay at. And to your point earlier, like, yeah, we got to stay humble, but also, like, I'd like to have some standards of what we do, right?
No, I mean, like, it seemed like I've watched a lot of videos of, like, random hotels that you go to that don't look
They're
so
just
good.
nasty.
And you go in the room and you want to sleep in the sheets that might not be clean, and then you might get bed. Like, I watched a video of someone having bed bugs in their hotel room. Oh God. Like, that's like a nightmare. Like you don't want to, like, let that be a chance. Spend a little bit more money and get something nice.
Yep.
And we spent a lot more money.
Well, not really. So obviously you and I get a separate hotel room. We need a separate hotel room. So we start driving around and we're like, let's go try this hotel. No, I don't. I don't want to see that either. Stay over there. I'm going to put you on the first floor. I'm going to the top.
Need a door.
So we started driving around. We're like, let's try this hotel. So we walked into a hotel in Vegas, and, the lobby was really nice. And it was actually like, I didn't have a casino, which was kind of surprising.
Oh, God.
And we went.
I didn't even speak about that.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So walk in, talk to the guy, and the guy behind the desk was really cool. And I was like, we just need it for the night because we got to be out here at like 4 a.m. And he's like, okay, so here's what you do. You go online and do this, and then here's 20% off for the restaurant. Go eat at the restaurant, and then come back here, and I'll see what I can do about upgrading you guys. So okay, that's fine. And like in Vegas, to get like a hotel, per night, like a decent one, you're gonna pay a couple $100 to $300 per person, per night, because it's 2 separate hotel rooms. So we go eat, we get back to the counter, and the total for the hotel, it was one hotel, totaled to $650. But the reason why it was one hotel, because it was the penthouse on the top floor of the hotel. And this is the first time I've ever experienced anything like that before. Because every hotel I've gotten was like, just bigger than this room, more or less.
Yeah.
And, we walked to the front, the double front door, the massive family room, the kitchen, 2 massive bedrooms, literally bigger than my house.
Mm-hmm.
Square footage wise, much bigger than my house.
Bathrooms were nice.
The bathrooms were enormous compared to like
luxurious.
Oh, it was cool. Yeah. So that was a cool experience. Unfortunately, we were only able to spend, because I think by the time we got to the room, it was like 11:30.
Yeah.
So we had to go to bed by 12, get up at 4, and get out of there.
I think we got up at 3.
Oh, you're right. We had to be at the airport at 4.
Yeah,
that's right. We got really early.
That sucked.
Oh, that was brutal.
I definitely didn't get very much sleep.
Oh, you had a bad morning, I remember.
Oh, I don't even want to get into that. But I mean, the view was beautiful.
Oh, it was. It was cool.
Like, especially at night, all the lights and everything. That was nice to see.
64 floors high.
Pretty high, right?
It was cool.
It's crazy.
It was really cool.
It was definitely a nice consolation prize, if you could.
It was.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the story sounds so like nonchalant, but like to get around in Vegas, like we walked, we had to get the Uber, we had to wait in line at the airport, which took forever to get, someone to tell us that we're on a flight. So like all the stress of that was gone. And then, by the time we got to the one hotel, then we had to get driven to another hotel and take a look at that and say, okay. And then we had to go through that whole process of getting the room.
Yeah. First class was nice though.
It was cool. Yeah. That was the second time I flew first class. The first time I flew back from Austin on a work trip. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I did it was because it was almost the same price as getting the standard, or whatever, the basic or economy. The flight wasn't that full. And it was cool. They serve you lunch and all this other stuff. Yeah. And the seats, it's just you and one other person. The seat's a little bit bigger. I will tell you that flying first class and going into that hotel has ruined me. has ruined me forever, because now, like, when I get in a plane and I'm not sitting up front, it's like, what you're missing.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
I was the same way, because that wasn't the first time I went to first class.
Yeah.
And then when I flew recently to go to California, I flew not Delta, but I flew I think American Airlines.
Yeah.
And like nothing against American Airlines, but like the economy seats for American Airlines are even worse than Delta.
Yeah.
And I was just like miserable the whole time.
You're like, no.
Yeah. Because like first class is just so comfortable. You can actually sleep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
you can recline that seat back. You're not inconveniencing the person behind you, and you can knock out.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have the headrests that kind of like come up. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, all of them have that.
Not in the economy.
Delta has it, and
in
American
Comfort
Airlines.
Plus.
No, Delta has that.
In all of them?
Mm-hmm. You can they're not that crazy, but
I know.
you can fold them around.
Oh,
your
okay.
thing.
I thought you only got that Comfort Plus and up in Delta.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, you can do that, and they're not that helpful. Maybe the ones in Comfort Plus are better, but
maybe I rarely ever use them because like when I cash out on a plane, I usually get the window seat and I just put my head against the window.
Yeah, that's actually really nice to do. I did that on our way back from California, which if you want to get into
I mean, it's up to you. That sucked more than the Vegas issue.
Yeah. I mean, I can briefly go over it. We went to California on a vacation, me and my wife, and that was fun. We visited family. And when, it was at the tail end of the trip, my wife got sick.
Yeah.
And we thought that, because she has a bunch of nieces and nephews that were young, and they recently had RSV, like the kid virus that everyone gets in school. Yeah. And we thought she got that. But her symptoms were pretty bad. She was getting worse. So just as a precautionary measure, we get a COVID test. And you know what's funny? The first test she took, she was negative.
Really?
And she was sick. And we were like, okay, at least, she doesn't have COVID. And the pack comes with 2. And the next day she was curious again. So she took it again. She wakes me up and she says, guess what? I'm like, what? I'm positive. I'm like, oh, God. It complicates everything. You know? I mean, because, we're trying to go fly back home. And I mean, it's hard to fly in good conscience knowing that you have COVID.
Yeah, of course.
And
you don't want to get other people sick.
Right. But the prime reason that we had to basically extend our stay 1 week extra. So she was really bad. She was suffering.
Yeah.
She couldn't fly.
Yeah.
So we were stuck there, and the AC broke.
That's right.
Which sucked. So it was really hot outside. So inside it was even hotter. So it was like 90 plus inside the house. And, she had a fever and all that.
Yeah.
And so we had to put ice packs on her, keep her cool. But in doing all that, I got COVID. I get COVID, and it was like why? That's what I was asking myself. Really?
Yeah.
And
couldn't have waited till you got back, right?
Yeah. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she was getting better, and then as she was getting better, I got worse.
Yeah. That's right.
And then I was trying to work, which didn't work out.
No, it didn't.
And then there was one day it was really bad, and I just I went to sleep and I just never woke up. And then I get a text. I look at my phone. There's a text from you saying, "Where are you?"
Yeah, because the night before you're like, I know where I'm going to be working. We're good. I'll do all the things that are scheduled. And then it's like radio silence. I'm like,
oh no.
It's like I know what was going on. But I was like, no.
And I felt bad, and I was like, I felt bad, and then I felt really bad.
Yeah, one of the same.
Thankfully, I mean, I got better enough. Me and Mesa.
You got better pretty quick after that bad day. It seemed like you kind of really.
Yeah. My wife, she was worse for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Me, I recovered quicker. Even that day though, when we flew, I was still feeling pretty bad, but it was enough where I could muster the strength.
Yeah.
Take enough Dayquils.
Those things are amazing.
Yeah, that helped quite a bit.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucked was, having to hold in my cough
Yes.
while I was on the flight,
Yes.
and then having to wear the mask still.
Yeah.
And it just overall, just trying to hold yourself together like you're falling, playing cards or whatever.
Just keep putting the
you
pieces back on.
literally. And I don't know, just the overall experience wasn't great, but I mean, thankfully we got home safe. And, it was okay time.
See, I think I got COVID again. So I got it, obviously remember back during Christmas. So I was stuck inside with my wife and kid, which is great, but without any family during Christmas, which was kind of weird. And that was 10 days, 11 days of feeling like crap. And then just one day waking up feeling amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And Dayquil was amazing. But then it was probably early summer. I started getting the same symptoms. And the symptom that I got the worst were the leg pain. The body aches, but the leg pain was awful.
Yeah.
And I started to get that again. I feel like it was early summer. I can't remember. And my wife, when she got COVID, she got like tingling, like weird, like numbness tingling in her back.
Mm-hmm.
And we both got the symptoms. I was coughing and I was having a harder time breathing, similar to how I was in COVID. And she had the headache that she had, like all the same symptoms.
Yeah.
But we tested so many times and all came back negative.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of convinced that I had it a second time because I've never had those symptoms, and neither has she when she's gotten sick. But it only lasted 2-3 days, and then
I mean, the tests aren't foolproof, and I mean, it's possible that you got it. But
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that really sucked after COVID ended for my wife is she just kept coughing nonstop. Even though she was better, she kept coughing. It was to the point where she couldn't sleep. And I was confused because I wasn't having that. And then after she stopped, recently, like around this time, I started coughing. Like you've noticed, I've been coughing like a little bit more. And I was like, what's going on?
It takes a long time.
Yeah. And for her, she lost her taste and smell, which was crazy. Like she didn't expect that because I thought with the newer variant that doesn't happen. But maybe we got the older variant or something like that.
Possible.
Yeah. But she got really upset because I mean, like when you lose when you lose something you're so used to, it's kind of like it shocks you a little bit.
Especially if you love food like we do.
Oh yeah, like I was. Remember that day that we went to go sushi that like on my birthday?
Yeah.
I had the Sprite and I'm like tasting it. I'm like, this tastes really weird.
Yeah.
It tastes off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did she give me bad Sprite or something? And no, I mean, and I'm like thinking in my head, like, what if my taste is just off, like from COVID? Yeah. And I didn't really think about it.
Has Sprite come back for you now?
It has, thankfully.
So that's interesting.
But from the get-go, my sense of smell has been never great.
So my smell went away, but my taste stayed. Which is very weird.
That's very weird.
So I was able to taste food. And what's also weird, usually when I get sick, like real sick, I lose my appetite. I can't eat. Yeah. When I had COVID, I was eating everything like normal. Like I was eating like gross, greasy food.
Yeah.
And I was fine. Like my stomach wasn't upset about it. Mm-hmm. I was tasting it, but I couldn't smell. And then it came back eventually. But I have a friend who got COVID really early on, like the beginning days of COVID. And now, to this day, now we're talking, 2 years later or more than that, he can't drink Coke.
Oh, really?
He loves Coke, but Coke now tastes like metal to him.
Wow.
And before that, he loved Coke. That's all he drank. Pepsi, no problem.
That's weird.
Sprite, Coke products, no problem. But Coke just had this nasty metallic taste. Up to this day, he still can't drink it.
Right. Like for me, the thing that I notice with my sense of smell is because I already don't smell very much from the beginning.
Surprising.
Yeah. With how big my nose is, right? But everything smelled like mustard for me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Like in the air, it just smelled like there was mustard, and it was such a weird thing. Like, and like I heard an explanation for why that might be. It's because like when your nose is like, I guess, recovering, there are certain molecules that you'll start to like receive first.
I see.
And like the individual molecules
make up what tells your brain what it is.
Yeah. So like if you don't get the full picture, you only get like a pixel, I guess, to a lack of a better like explanation. So you can have something that smells really, really good. And if you only smell like one part of it, it'll smell like poop.
I see.
It's possible.
Yeah. That would suck.
Yeah, really. And it can build some bad associations, really.
Yeah, that's true. Just plug your nose all day.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine that guy, like you're talking about, that, he can never drink Coke again?
I know.
Like,
I hope that gets fixed one day, but yeah, it's very weird.
But if it does get fixed, maybe it'll never be fixed because association-wise,
that's true too.
He doesn't like Coke anymore.
Yeah, because it tastes like metal. You're right. And what's interesting, like some people smell burning, like way after. Some people smell like a chemical smell, like way after.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird thing.
Thankfully, we had no other symptoms after that. Yeah. Thankfully, everything was good. I mean, overall, it felt like just a really bad cold, /flu. But it definitely didn't help being in a house that didn't have air conditioning.
God, no.
And like honestly, like by the end, we got heat acclimated. Like we got used to it.
Yeah.
And when the air conditioning did get fixed on the last day, that we turned the air conditioning up to the point where we were used to having it, and it was freezing. Yeah. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't sleep. I was shivering in the bed, and I'm like, it's only set to 75. Yeah, and I was like,
you got really used to the hot.
My body got super used to it.
That's pretty quick.
I was surprised. Yeah. I was like, wow, like this is Because like if you think about it, like in antiquity and in the past, not even in antiquity, in recent history, air conditioning is a recent luxury, you know?
Well, and a lot of buildings, even here in Detroit, don't even have it.
Right. So like you have situations where, you know, in the past where people were just used to the heat and they just, they got a hang of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Open the window, turn on a fan, whatever. Right.
Exactly. And like with a lot of these houses in California, they have like the attic fans, attic, which like at night when it's like 70 degrees, hopefully, you open the windows and it just sucks the air through the house and takes all the hot air out, which
I have
is
one
nice.
in my house too.
Yeah. I need to put one in mine because the upstairs it gets really hot. It's super helpful in that, but then during the day is when it really kills you. Yeah, it'll make the house worse.
Yeah, right. Bringing all this hot air.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, it was a fun trip. Went to the beach a lot, hiking, and you know, California is nice. I like the mild weather over there because you're close to the water.
Yeah.
But when we went further east, when we went to Palm Springs, that was hot.
Yeah,
that was like 120 degrees.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, that made Vegas feel like it was nothing. Like it was desert. Like I think
what made Vegas tougher was I was wearing more formal attire.
More
business attire.
When we left the conference hall, oh my god! You remember I walked out of the door.
Yeah.
And we took a couple steps and I looked at you. I'm like, no, Eddie.
Yeah.
No.
Back inside.
I went because we had our luggage with us.
Wait. No. Hold on. You wanted to go on a walk like one of the first days before we had our luggage, right?
Yeah, we did.
And we turned right back and went back inside. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Because we didn't know where the strip was. So we were walking and looked and we were like, well, this doesn't look like the strip.
Yeah. That was the front. We walked out the front door.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the hotel.
But when that day, because we checked out of our room, we had our luggage with us.
You're right.
I walked out and I was like, no, this is a no-go. I ran back in.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
I ran back in. I went to the bathroom, into a stall. I opened up my luggage. I took out my shorts, my flip-flops, and my most like thin t-shirt I could find.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that feels good. And still, it felt like a blow dryer was blowing on me the whole time.
And I sat there like a dum-dum because I didn't have any of that stuff packed with me.
But it was still fun. It was still a nice experience. One thing that I had like not an issue, I guess, but it was definitely like a culture shock was initially in the first part of the trip. You know, my first impression of just everything being a casino was kind of hard to get used to.
Literally, you get out of the airport, or you get off the plane, and when you walk in the airport, it's slot machine after slot machine after slot machine. Yeah.
And for me, I mean, like, it's something that I personally don't care to do, but like it was very interesting to kind of like see in the wild. You know what I'm saying?
It is. And like I've been to a casino a couple times like here, but it was like someone dragged me there.
Yeah.
This was very cool. Like it was kind of cool. Like where you just walk around, it's like casino everywhere. Mm-hmm. And although I don't love it, and I rarely play, the last day I had I think I had like $90 in my pocket. Yeah. I'm like, you know what, Cass, let's just do I'm gonna sit here for like literally I think I was there for 2.5 minutes, and I turned 90 into like 300 or something like that.
And that paid for our dinner.
Yeah, that's right. And I was like, all right, I'm cool with that.
I mean, it worked out.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was cool though, like outside of the conference, outside of everything else, but you know, when you're in a casino, somewhere in Las Vegas, it's not like you see one type of people.
Oh,
you see every walk of life,
everything
walking, you know, together, from the most affluent to the people that are like in there that are, you know, not so well off, that are just trying to like win something, you know, to help them out.
Right.
Like you can see, you know, all the colors of the rainbow, like, for lack of a better term. Yeah.
And what's interesting is like over there, you know, you go to the casinos, like, you know, you and I were like, let's go find that. Remember the dumpling restaurant, right? It's like, oh, it's in a casino.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go to that restaurant. Oh, that's in a casino too.
It all in hotels, all in casinos.
Everything. It's all hotels, casinos, and restaurants in one. There's not like a restaurant that's like on the strip. I mean, I'm sure there is, but not that we found.
Right.
And what was cool is, remember the first day we got there, it was late at night because our flight came in late. Check-in took forever, and we were hungry. And they had like a food court, but all the food was pretty good. Like it was all you know. I think there's like 6 or 7 restaurants there, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
To have all those options, because usually, you know, when you stay at a hotel, they might have one restaurant.
Yeah.
Right. But this one had like, I think there's 3 or 4 Starbucks in there. There was like 7 different food court style restaurants. And then they had the ones that were kind of inside the casino. They had like a handful of those too.
Yeah. They had like these, I mean, they had restaurants that were owned by or took the name off of famous chefs.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh yeah, right.
which like we tried, I think one of them that was pretty good. What was it called again?
Did we?
When we were with the sales rep.
Oh.
I forgot what.
It's the dude with the spiked hair, right?
I don't remember. But it was pretty good. I had the
drive me
margarita
crazy.
pizza.
That's right. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy now. I can't think of the name.
Wolf something.
Wolfgang
Puck.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it was not bad.
No,
it was
that
pretty
was good. It was good.
We had sushi over there, which was, it was okay.
Yeah, we didn't. I think we should have found a better sushi
Yeah.
restaurant.
So for me and you, we have high standards for sushi. we've got to some really good sushi places, and to be fair, like with the conference and all the hustle and bustle, like you don't really have time to kind of be a tourist.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
You really
you're
don't.
there for business, and when you're hungry, you got to find something practical.
Yep.
So that was kind of like the reason why maybe we didn't find anything
But that's
crazy.
okay.
But
I would like to go again on vacation.
yeah, I want to go to Hell's Kitchen. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay style.
Yeah.
I think he's actually opening a restaurant in. I think it's in Illinois or Indiana. I can't remember.
Okay.
One of those
Why
states.
there?
Beats me.
Why not Detroit?
Yeah. That's That's another podcast.
Yeah.
So
I think overall my summer, I don't know about you, like because you may think your summer is different, but like because you work more than I do. But my summer was pretty nice. I got to see family, got to go to California, got to go to Quebec. You went to Chicago.
I did for a weekend.
How was that?
That was fun. That was nice. It was good. It's we got to kind of walk around, eat some food, go check out some things. We were in a nice hotel room. We got to see fireworks from the window, and
Yeah, you went to the penthouse again.
I did. I had to do it.
One wasn't enough, huh?
One wasn't enough. It was cool because I've got a 16-month-old and she runs everywhere, and so we're just there for 2 nights. So I figured it's not like a whole week vacation. Go spend the money on the nicer place, and it was perfect because she got so much space to play and run around, play with their stuffed animals and puzzles and all the kinds of stuff. And it was very kid friendly. I mean, they even gave her like a teddy bear when she walked in the front door.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, it was so sweet. She was so excited about that. So it was a really, really good quick stay. Just something to get away. Like you say, I work a lot, so I don't like my last time taking a full 5 or 7 day vacation was my honeymoon.
Mm-hmm. That was
3.5, 4 years ago, whatever it was.
That was a long time ago, man. Old man.
Yeah, my back is starting to hurt.
Old man.
So, but my summer I feel like was great. I mean, you're right. I did work a lot, but we've grown as a team. We've grown as a company. We're expanding our office now.
Yeah.
So to me, those things make my summer so much better because summer is slow in our business.
Yeah. I think this summer is a good time for everybody to kind of reflect and grow and work on things that they didn't have time to work on.
I agree.
Other parts of the year. And so I think we did that for us.
Yeah,
I think that was definitely we definitely took the opportunity.
We did.
And we ran with it.
And the sales team and I have talked about this because, again, still being a newer company, still understanding how sales work. Our summer sales were really, really bad. But it wasn't an attest to the people because right now, it's kicking. And so it's okay, cool. So now we know that the summertime, especially July and August, people are all out. No one wants to talk. Everyone's kind of in this lull of business. What can we do to do some self-prep?
Yeah.
How can we do some more networking events, go out to places, become vendors somewhere, whatever it is, instead of just doing the normal day-to-day sales stuff that we typically do.
Right.
And so that's kind of given us a nice point to work off of for next year.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
And it's obviously everything's a work in progress.
Yep.
You got to figure things out.
Always.
Test things.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think? What's your goal for before the end of the year for us?
I don't know, to be honest with you. That's a good question. I mean, I know what my goal is financially as a company, and we're going to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
My goal, we're going to be actually above it, which is awesome. I would like the team, each individual and team as a whole, to obviously grow and get a little bit better. We've talked about where you want to go in the cloud infrastructure, stuff like that, and other guys on the team and gals and stuff. So, I want to get some of these hires out of the way and kind of get them in, start training them up and kind of get to a really nice rock solid point where New Year kickoff is just we're ready to go.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't have one specific, this is what I'd like to see. I'm not very I guess I can't be so black and white on that as much.
Of course.
What about you?
Honestly, I'm more of we'll see when we get there type of
Yeah.
person. I mean, it's nice to have goals, but I think I like to take things day by day.
I like having the small obtainable ones. Like, okay, this week we're going to accomplish this, or we're going to do these things, because then it makes the big goals feel closer.
Yeah, that's true.
And the way that I work, like I'm a very big list checker offer or whatever, which I think we've discussed before. And that keeps me motivated. Because if you see this massive goal that's like, yeah, we'll get there in 5 years.
It looks unattainable.
Yeah, like 2 years down the line, you're like, oh, this sucks. You know, like
you don't have the context for how close you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, you like it looks like a really far away object, but
exactly.
You know, you don't see like the gauge.
Right. Yeah, but we've exceeded a lot of goals that I had set for us. So I need to get a little bit more audacious.
I mean, that's what the summer's for, right?
Yeah.
You gotta assess.
That's it. Well, this was good. I'm glad we caught up. You know, like actually sat down and caught up.
It's actually fun to talk about a bunch of different things, I think.
Yeah.
I think maybe we should do this more often where we cover a bunch of different topics.
Yeah.
And
I think so
keep the podcast flowing, you know, with content.
There's a new goal.
Yeah.
Summer reflection right there.
Yeah. I think this is gonna be I'll say this. I think one of the goals that I want is to grow this podcast.
Yeah.
Get this thing off the ground, get really big viewership, you know,
that'd be good.
Like a community that we can reach out to, ask them questions, what they want to hear from us.
Yeah. That'd be really
That would be
cool.
nice.
I'd like that too.
Yeah.
So, okay. Go off and build it.
Okay.
All right, guys. I'll see ya.
See ya. I'm going to go back to bed.
Yeah.